Hi friends, and welcome back to my Storyline Chapters album project. And so today I wanted to create a layout just documenting a couple of my favorite blooms in our yard this year. And so every year I try to document a little of what we're doing in our yard, in our flower beds that year, just to remind myself from year to year how our garden grows. And I'm working with the May Cocoa Daisy Memory Keeping Kit, and it was called Tranquility. Lots of greens in this kit, lots of icons and elements related to flowers and greenery. And so this was a great opportunity to include this story in my Storyline Chapters book. So I'm starting with an enlarged photo, a full page photo here to go on the right hand side. And I'm just gonna measure out here to get the cut right and cut that down to where it needed to be. For some reason, it printed a little bit larger than I had planned, and that's okay. This is the front of our house, and there was some interesting lighting. You can see the rays from the sun that sort of reflected in the camera that day, and so I wanted to capture that. It just had a little magical quality to it, and so that became the focal point for my layout. And then I have on the other side, on the left hand side, I have two supporting photos of some of the specific blooms that I wanted to talk about in this layout. And so I think what I'm going to do is dedicate a Storyline notebook to the garden and to our yard work. Alan and I spend a lot of time every year working in the yard, cultivating, trying new plants, trying to get the right look. To be honest, I'm not much of a gardener, and I'll be honest about that. Alan does a lot of the work, most of the heavy lifting, and it really does look nice. Just a fun story, if you didn't know this about us, when we purchased this house back in 2016, Alan and I did the sweat equity program where you paint the house and you plant all the grass and the landscaping. And so he and I did that together. And so we take a special pride in caring for the yard. Sweat equity definitely is the correct term for that type of project. So I'm going to do, on the left-hand side, I'm going to do just a very simple grid. These layouts lend themselves beautifully to simple grid layouts, and especially using the 3x4 cards. And so I printed those photos out to a 3x4 size to go with the journaling cards. And then the Cocoa Daisy kit also had these beautiful rub-ons, and so I'm going to apply those behind the photos and the cards. And so I'm working directly on the paper itself that the insert is made of, and it has this little bit of texture to it already. So this just helps to ground the photos and the cards a little more into the layout itself and adds a little bit of visual interest. And so you can see how I'm just letting these stitches sort of fall off of the edge of the page here. And so this is what I call establishing, or what is known in graphic design as establishing a relationship with the boundary of the page. And so since on the right hand side I had a full page photo, and so that boundary it goes all the way to the edge of the page, something on this side needed to also go all the way to the edge, just as a way of balancing that out a little bit. And then it also creates a little home base for some light embellishing if you want. You could do labels there. You could do some chipboard. I put a little of the washi tape there on the edges. And then I'm also going to stamp some of these beautiful leaves that were in the stamp set. These are so pretty. Just the artwork on these was really really appealing to me, and I think they'll just look really pretty peeking out from behind the photos. So I'm gonna just sort of guesstimate a little bit. I pulled the photos right back up from where they came from. Always use repositionable adhesive. I always end up pulling something back up. So repositionable adhesive is a go-to for me. And I'm just, again, working here to create some sort of visual interest on the background for this page, tying in some more of the green, also contrasting with the blue of the sky that you can see just a little bit of in the house photo. And so the flowers that I'm highlighting here are actually our camellia. And this bush has had a really fun little history. We didn't know for sure if it would like being there, but it's something it's a bloom that Alan and I both really liked a lot. And it's a little bit of pink. It's a pop of pink here. And for some reason this year, it really took off. It's taken it a few years to get happy enough to where it will bloom profusely, and this year was that year. And it's been sort of interesting to watch our yard evolve and to watch the plants sort of grow their roots and become comfortable enough to show us their beauty. And so that was definitely a highlight of our spring this year, early spring. Camellias love the late winter when the temperatures come just above freezing and start to be warm enough. They like those temps, and that triggers them to bloom. And they're just these really full, luscious blooms. So we had quite a few on that bush. I'm just making some decisions here about the cards, and that happens sometimes once I have the background figured out and have the photos in place, and then I'm just starting to think about, well, what do I really want on the journaling cards, and what does the layout itself really want? And I feel pretty confident about the journaling card right now, that it's that sort of pink peach color that again contrasts a little bit with the greens in the kit. I didn't want the layout to be all green, so that's part of why I was looking here for some cards that brought in some of the other colors from the kit. And so that led me then to the stripe card that also has that pink peach. And then a little chipboard embellishment here that I'm just going to layer onto that pattern paper just to help it pop, but also help tie in the Happy Place journal card as well. And that's really what I was trying to accomplish here, was to blend in that peach color with the rest of the layout. I felt like it looked pretty close to the pink of the blooms, but not really. So, and that's okay. That's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect, because I think that where color appears in nature, it's going to flow with your color palette, no matter what your color palette is. Nature does not worry about putting yellow and pink together or putting purple with brown. Nature just grows what it grows, and that's really what this layout is more about. And so, speaking of grow, there was a little acrylic word in the kit as well, and that's one of the things I wanted to use specifically in this layout. And so I'm going to use that as my title and add that to the large photo here, along with a little banner, just to ground that photo, and again, tie it in with the rest of the layout. And then, of course, Christine did these beautiful glitter enamel dots, and so I always have a spot for enamel dots, and I'm just going to embellish a little bit and just add a little tiny bit of sparkle here and there to my page, and let that really just draw your eye in, and just have a little bit of fun using that product. Also, you notice how I used the arrow on the Happy Place journal card, and I wanted to just say about that. That is another example of creating a relationship with the edge of the page, having something sort of fall off of the grid design, sort of fall out of the grid design, helps. Again, your eye sort of goes to that place because it's something that you don't expect. And so don't be afraid to use an unexpected element like that to highlight a certain place where you want the reader's eye to come to. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you will pop over to the blog and check out the other details of this layout. And I will see you back here again soon. Thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.